Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here, the Three Topics Gamer, here to give you another episode of my weekly Q&A to help people's questions or answer a series of questions that have been sent to me over the past week. Sadly, we only had like 2 questions for this particular episode. I think everything else was a little bit too simple, so I never even a number of questions I think other people were able to answer for me. However, I think that the 2 questions that did make it into this video are quite meaningful, and just like last week, meaningful questions usually have a good reputation of being able to talk about them more than standard questions. So I think that's a good point to go. So before I jump into these first 2 questions, and really the only 2 questions, if you haven't already, please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up and press the subscribe button if you'd like to see this and more, videos in terms of my content. And starting off with the first meaningful question, coming from Brady Burke, and you want to know, am I okay? The way you've written this question is a little bit off, but so basically you're asking, have I entered a point in my life where I just don't know what to do with my life or what I want to do in my career? Well, I don't have a career right now, but I would love a career. But am I in a point? I would say, from a personal standpoint, I would say I'm in a state of limbo, because I know what I want to do. I don't know how to move forward. Like, as it stands right now, the next step in my main life would be is to, eventually be in a position where I'm working a job where I can just support my own. Like, I'm not even talking about owning a house of my own one day. I mean, I'm just talking about just being on my own, not living with parents, not living with siblings, not needing roommates, just living on my own. In fact, I would ask you guys who are watching this, how many of you at this stage in your life are entirely on your own? Just to be self-sufficient would be a dream state. And I think in terms of the career, the direction I would see myself going is working in a digital media sense for the gaming industry. So some say that game journalism is dead or that you can't trust game journalism in general. I don't necessarily believe that's true. I think it definitely has its place. It's just trying to find the right people to trust. And at what point do you sacrifice your integrity in order to make money? Because of something like IGN, I'm like, they're supposed to be like the pinnacle of game journalism. But let's be honest, IGN doesn't just focus on games. They focus on all different types of content. And I'm sure they get all kinds of bribes and they make money. And heck, sometimes if you have to make money, you got to say things that aren't necessarily true. And this has been proven. They have been accused of selling reviews. And we know that they have done this. Because at the end of the day, they are a business. They have to make money. And sometimes that requires them to have to sell their integrity in order to do so. It's dishonest, but heck, would you rather tell the truth and not get paid, or lie and make money? So it's kind of a real strange tight wire to make. But that's kind of where I am right now. I would love to move forward because I would love a better job. It's just needing to know what's the next step. And I'm the kind of person who doesn't want to do the old, well, you need to look online, go to Google, go to Bing or something like that. I would like to speak to someone who is in the position that I would like to see myself and ask them, how do I get from here to there? What are the steps I need to take in order to do so? Because I've always seen that my YouTube channel and just the amount of content is a good portfolio. Just see the content of my channel. Just see how I have grown, how I've developed, how I've improved over these past 8 years, and say like, yeah, this is something I definitely have a passion for doing. I think I can do it. I have the experience. I know what I'm talking about. I don't just play casually. I very much have a legitimate passion for the gaming industry, and just to be part of it would just be a dream in any capacity. So yeah, I would say that's kind of where I'm at right now. I would say that my 20s were a little bit underwhelming because I didn't really do much, because I wasn't like your typical 20-year-old who went out and partied and slept with every girl he could or just did all kinds of stupid things. I pretty conservative. I didn't do too many things. I didn't go on too many adventures and like to play it safe. But going into my 30s, since I'll be turning 30 soon, yeah, I think once you hit your 30s, it's time to buckle down and start living the life that is going to support you for at least the next 10, 20 years. And the current state that I'm in right now in terms of living situation is not it. So yeah, that went a while. And the second question comes from the Batman from Neil Gotham, and you want to know, what are my thoughts on people's fears on the second wave of the coronavirus? Well, Batman, I should correct you, because there is no such thing as a second wave, because we never exited the first wave. We are still in the first wave. I mean, just because cases went down doesn't mean that this virus ever went away. This virus never went away. It's just with people social distancing, because people were at home and people weren't going out as much, there was less opportunity for the virus to spread. So now that they've started reopening things and things are going out and people aren't wearing face masks and people are social distancing, it's starting to go up again. But there was never a second wave. We're still in the first wave. A second wave would be like if the virus is completely gone and then it all of a sudden popped up in another location. But that's not what happened. So I think I think people's fears on this is a little misleading, because I'll be honest. I mean places like Fox and CNN, they put all these reports about, like, this is how many cases were in, this is how many people were infected today. I mean, listen, I'm living in Nevada. I'm living in Vegas. This is supposed to be a hot spot, and I'm telling you right now, and all the time that this virus has supposedly been around, as far as I know, am not related to anyone that has gotten this virus, and I don't even know anyone who knows someone that's been infected by this virus. So I'm thinking, if these cases are so widespread, where are they? Because I've not seen anyone who has this virus. I've not heard anyone who has picked up this virus. I don't know anyone personally. Maybe that's just me, because I don't know too many people. I'm sure, but there has to be some justifications, because I'm sure they wouldn't just shut stuff down for no reason. But all I know is my fear about this whole thing is that I hope things don't get shut down. But because of the current type of job that I work, I cannot afford. Nobody I work with can afford another shutdown. If they shut down casinos again, in which I don't work at a casino, I work at a bowling alley that's connected to a casino. If you shut that down, all of us have pretty much lost our jobs. And without casinos, Las Vegas will die. That's pretty much how it is. So you cannot shut the casinos down. The casinos is literally the blood that keeps the city alive, and that is the truth. So yeah, I think the fear isn't necessarily misguided. I just think that it's not universal, because there's certain things that people are concerned with. I'm not so much worried about the virus. I'm just concerned about this virus's effect that it will have on my livelihood. That is my concern. But again, this is not part of a second wave. We are still in the first wave. It's just with all this craziness and that's been going on has allowed the virus to start spreading again at a faster rate. And now, people have to take drastic measures in order for it to go down again, because we don't even know if we're any close to a vaccine or not. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. So that about does it for the two main questions. I'd like to thank you two for sending in your questions. If any of you guys have any questions you'd like me to answer in next week's episode, be sure to type them in the comments down below, but make sure you get them into me roughly before on Wednesday around noon, before I start filming the next episode. And if you would like to increase your odds of having them answered either in the video, so that I don't have to answer them in the comments down below, just have them have a little bit more depth, maybe make them personal, just have them be a little bit more interesting instead of it being something that can be answered very, very simply. That is usually the best way to get your questions answered in the videos. So with that said, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next week.